Good evening. Thank you so much for coming. We're going to go ahead and get started. We have a really tight agenda tonight and need to try and get done at 8 because we have a District B election this evening. So thank you so much for joining. I'm Kate Sneed, the captain of 6A, and we have Rachel Fisher, the finance chair of 6A, and then Karen Zazzaretti, who's the co-captain in 6B with us tonight. Andrew Fisher, my co-captain, is in Boston, New York for a conference, so he's not with us tonight, and we'll do the election for 6B later this evening. So, again, we're going to try and keep it pretty tight on the agenda just because we have such a full agenda. And so, Mark, are you ready? Yeah, you. Not ready. Okay. Then we're going to do a few other things before we get to Mark. Rachel and Karen, do you guys want to come up and we'll do our section and then we'll go to Mark? So, Karen, I'm going to turn it over to you first. And for those of you speaking tonight, we've got 2 mics, one for the online streaming and one for the room, so please just stand close to this mic while you're using this mic.
Okay, well, welcome to our wonderful HD6. And I am going to talk about the food. We have some wonderful volunteers who brought food tonight. Janine Ransom and Mark Kamen did bring some dessert. He wasn't supposed to, but he did anyway. So, and then we have Mary and I don't even know where Mary is, and Anne. And what I'm asking for right now is for me to pass around this and for you to sign up to bring food either for the August meeting or the September meeting. And if you have something in particular you'd like to bring, just write it down there. If you don't care what you bring, then and I'll email you or phone you and we'll figure it out. So, thank you very much, and I'm passing this around.
Okay, hi everyone. So I'm here to talk about what our budget plan is and fundraising goals are for the district in this upcoming election. So as you all know, this is a midterm election and we've got some exciting races coming up. We have an exciting primary here in HD6, but for the Senate, we do have, I think it's about 6 guests here tonight who are going to talk to you all about their districts and why it's competitive and the help that they need to hopefully gain everyone's excitement and support. In terms of that, we are really going to be focused on fundraising to match the efforts that HD6 had in 2018 and 2020. We have a fundraising goal of $10,000, just as simple as that. And that is really exciting because that means that we can do so much get out the vote with the efforts. I think we're having some issues with the camera, but hopefully soon everyone will be able to see our beautiful faces. But yeah, like I said, we have a goal of $10,000 to raise so that way we can help all these districts win. That way we can keep control of the Senate and the House in 2022 going forward. So we have lots of events coming up that Kate will be talking about next, but I want to talk about our fundraiser. It is our kickoff event. That'll be on Saturday, July 9th from 2 to 4 p.m. at Montclair Park. You can register on Mobilize. Tickets are $10. And I encourage you all to sign up and bring a friend or 2 friends, maybe 3. Maybe we can raise $10,000 at this event. Probably not, but we can do our best, right? So go ahead and get registered, and that will also serve as our next House District meeting. So make sure that you're there. Again, tickets are $10, and ice cream in July is always like the best decision. And I will be sure that there will be dairy-free options for us who might not really enjoy dairy or are vegan. So with that, I'm going to pass it off to Kate.
Thank you. All right. Oh, and I forgot my notes. did you take my notes? No? All right. The upcoming events are on your table in the QR code. There's also a couple flyers around for the upcoming fundraisers. The QR code on those will also take you directly to buy tickets. So as Rachel said, the ice cream social is coming up in July. I just was contacted today by the Tattered Cover. They are having an author visit next Friday, the 17th. And so Dan Pfeiffer, who is a podcaster and wrote Battling the Big Lie, he will be at the Tattered Cover on Colfax, and the Tattered Cover asked if we would co-sponsor and give us donations. So it's a fabulous opportunity, and they are very excited to have us be there with them on Friday the 17th. You can go online to again, if you go scan the QR code on the flyer or even go to the event sign up. It's the Tattered Cover website. It is a ticketed event, so the ticket gets you a seat at the event, a copy of the book with his signature, and then a donation to the Denver Democratic Party. So it's $40 for that for the evening, and that's 7 p.m. on June 17th. So it's a really cool opportunity, and really gracious that the Tattered Cover reached out and offered to do that with us. So that's awesome as well. And again, we put a couple of these out. The idea is we're trying to save paper, but all the QR codes will take you to those locations. The Mobilize account has all of our events coming up on it, and everything is posted there. So, Mark is going to join us for a few minutes for some DPOD updates on the countywide information.
Okay.
Good. And get close to that.
And that one too. Hello? Hello? Hello, hello, hello. All right, great to see everybody here at HD6. Is that where I'm at? I'm so confused these days. I don't know if I'm coming or going. I know I live here, but I go to all the House District meetings. Anyway, it's great to see you. Great turnout on a beautiful evening. It's nice for me personally, to be in person. This is basically my first meeting event in 4 weeks. And most of you know I had back surgery and have had a struggle, but I'm getting better. And I just want to say to everybody who called me, came to visit me, brought food, helped me change my bandages. I had a lot of nursemaids. I really appreciate all of that. It meant a lot to me, and really got me through, especially the first 2 weeks. So I'm hopeful that I am going to fully recover and go from there. So, did anybody get their mail today? You should have gotten your ballots. If you didn't, hopefully you'll get it tomorrow. I got mine in the mail today. So make sure you vote, and make sure you get it back in time. Please don't wait till the 28th. Drop it off or mail it early. I want to tell you a quick story about what happened last week. So, one of my jobs as the chair of the Denver Democrats is to go down to Denver Elections Division and do what we call LAT, which is logic and accuracy testing of ballots. And it's me and somebody from the Denver Republican Party. It's usually the same person, but she's running for Republican C Regent, so she could not be their person this year. So they sent a new person, and we went through all the ballots, and we had a break, and I was talking to this guy, and I said, so what do you think as a Republican, what's going on in Colorado, in the country? And I thought it was really interesting because he said to me I'm really nervous about some of our potential candidates through the primary. And I said, well, if I were you, I'd be real nervous about Ron Hanks and Lauren Boebert and Tina Peters. And he said, yeah, I don't think they're going to get my vote. And this is a Republican, so I'm hopeful that we're going to do well in November. There are really only 4 months until the ballots are going to go out, just over 4 months for the midterm elections. So we need to gear up, get through the primaries, and then we need to work our butts off to get everybody either reelected or elected. Denver's always a safe bet, but statewide, we have got to have awesome turnout in Denver to counter the red areas of this state. So we're going to be working our butts off at Denver Dem's office, in the House districts. We're counting on all our elected officials to get the word out, because we want to keep Governor Polis, Phil Weiser, Jenna Griswold, Dave Young, Michael Bennett. So do everything you can to make sure that we are successful. I know there's a lot of people concerned about what's going on in the country, and the high gas prices and the baby formula and all these things. Yes, these are concerning things. But I would prefer to have Democrats running Congress than Republicans, because they don't really give a damn about us, which is pretty evident to most of us. And while it's a difficult time right now, there is something happening in Denver that you should feel very good about. Go Avs, 12 down, 4 to go. I don't know if you saw last night's game, but I have no nails left. They made me crazy. I know quite a few of you. I saw you Saturday at Botanic Gardens at the Obama State Party Gala. As I'm looking around, I think I saw at least 15 of you. Great event, wonderful keynote speaker, perfect weather other than a little wind, but it was a lot of fun, and it was really great to see a sold-out crowd with most of our electeds there. So Sunday, August 7th is going to be our annual barbecue picnic at Ruby Hill Park. We've had it there every year except for 1 year when we canceled because of COVID 2 years ago. We had it there last year. Nobody got sick that I know of, and we had record turnout of over 300 people. So we're doing it again this year. So mark that down on your calendars, and we hope to see all of you there. We'll be sending out info as it gets a little closer. Last couple of things. This is June, so I want to wish everybody a happy Pride Month. Let me hear it. Last thing, wouldn't be a House District meeting without me begging for money, separate from the HD6 begging that I think Karen did, or maybe it was Rachel. Yeah. If you are not a Century Club member, please consider joining. We need to raise a lot of money for Get Out the Vote this year. If you are interested in joining, I have BREs here. You can fill it out. You can write a check. You can do credit card. You can do an annual or a monthly payment. But please consider joining Century Club. As I look around, I would say probably at least a third of this room is Century Club members, maybe even higher than that. So thank you to those who are members. The last thing I just want to briefly mention, if you live in House District 6B, please do not leave this meeting when the regular meeting ends. We have to hold a special election to elect a new captain. Patrick Tebow resigned about a month and a half ago. We thank Patrick for all his work. I personally will miss him. He's a good friend. But we do have to have an election. So if you're in 6B and you're on the Central Committee, you got a notice. You also got the call, which is what the invite is called. And we have to vote at the end of this meeting so we can actually elect a captain legally. We only have to have 40% for quorum. I've already counted over 40% that are here as far as 6B Central Committee members, so we'll be good as long as you don't leave. That's all I have. I'm looking forward to hearing from everybody tonight and looking forward to a great meeting. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mark. I forgot one announcement when I was up here before, so that I don't forget it again. Tomorrow evening at 6:30 at Windsor Gardens, there will be their monthly meeting. They are having a candidate forum for House District 6. So Elizabeth Absentee March tomorrow night at 6:30 at Windsor Gardens. Forgot to make that announcement. All right, now we have Karen and Beth gonna come up and talk about volunteers.
And first, Skip Madsen is going to talk to us about volunteers, and then we'll be up there also.
Okay, Skip Madison's gonna talk about volunteers.
Madsen.
Just make sure you speak into that one.
Thank you, Kate. Hey, I just want to give a shout out to Mark. He works his backside off, and I'm really glad to see him up and around. Thank you, Mark. Let's give him another round. Where is he? Thank you. Okay, so I am helping coordinate volunteers for the state party. And right now we are calling all inactive Democratic voters. So they're friendlies. They're already Democrats. But they probably moved and they did not update their voter registration. They need to go online and update their voter registration so that they can get a ballot in the mail. Okay? Both for the primary and for the general election. Right now, we've got 50,000 plus inactive Democratic voters in the new Congressional District 8 alone. And I am running what's called virtual phone banks. It's really easy. How many of you already have a VAN account? Raise your hand. If you don't, we can get you one. It's really easy. If you've already got one, all you have to do is click on the link that I will send you if you'll sign up, please, and we will show you how to do it. It's easy. They're friendlies. They will want to hear from us. And more often than not, all you have to do is leave a message. Okay? It's really easy. And I'm going to start right here, and I would love everybody who can to at least give me 1 hour on a Wednesday or Thursday night. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Skip. Yes, I'm going to sign up for that too. Come on up here. So this is the great captain at large for the Denver Dems, and she is going to talk to you about some more volunteer opportunities.
First thing I want to say is that HD6 is my Democratic home. When Donald Trump got inaugurated, that Saturday I went to the Women's March. The following Tuesday I came to HD6. They had new people raise their hands, and I think there was 35 of us. And so that was my start in getting involved and being involved in Denver Democrat politics. Right now, like Karen said, I'm the captain at large for volunteers for the county. And so what that means is that all the different people that volunteer, we keep up with them, send out newsletters periodically every week or every 2 weeks with volunteer opportunities. And the reason I was asked to come talk with you guys tonight is, first of all, who in here is a PO, a block captain, or a member of the HD6 leadership team? Okay, all you guys are already volunteers. So you didn't even necessarily think of yourself that way, maybe, but you are. But you might not be signed up as a volunteer through the county. So you can go into the denverdems.org website, and there's a button on the top right-hand corner of the homepage, and you can sign up as a volunteer. And the reason that you would want to do that is then you'll have access to see all those volunteer opportunities. An awful lot of them are one-time opportunities, kind of like Skip was talking about with helping out for something right now. There are some that are more longer-term commitments. Something we need a lot of is people that can speak to voters in Spanish and translate written materials to Spanish. We also need block captains across the board. But you'll get those emails, and then if you have some free time, you'll have the opportunity to volunteer with one of these one-time opportunities where you're not making a long commitment. The other thing that you'll get is, first of all, you'll be in the know. You'll know what's going on, right? You'll know who's asking for volunteers. You'll know who's having events. You might see some things out there that you would like to do for your own precinct, so you might get some good ideas. And you'll also see things that you can do outside of HD6 and DPOD. For example, there's going to be things out there for us to help volunteer to get the new congressional CD to have a Democratic rep. There's going to be things out there about Tina Peters and Lauren Bogart. And so you will have an opportunity in a way to see where those opportunities are so you can get involved and do some of that. One of the things that's out there right now is having postcard parties for Jeffco. They have 6 or 7 candidates out there, and they're thinking really far ahead because what they want to do is do all the postcards now, then they're going to set them aside, and a couple of weeks before the election, they'll stick the address and the stamp on there and mail them, but the postcards will have been ready since June. So I thought that was really good thinking to do that. At the same time that you sign up as a volunteer for the county, you also will be signing up as a volunteer for HD6. So that way, if the HD has things to send you to volunteer about, you'll be able to get those messages too.
So I am also going to pass around this clipboard. If you sign up here, we will make sure that you are signed up for all of the volunteer opportunities. That doesn't mean you have to do any of them. It just means you will get contacted and you can choose yes or no. That's all it is.
Okay, it says, with the agenda being tight, if you have any questions, I'll be around at the end of the meeting.
Hi, HD6. I just wanted to make a quick announcement that if you're a precinct committee person, there's a great news. If you're a precinct committee person and you have not signed up for VAN, or if you used to be a VAN holder, activist, and lost, you may find out you can no longer sign up. You'll have to get reorganized. So nobody has signed up recently. I've sent invitations out to a number, and they haven't signed up from that point either. So I'd like to ask you to please contact me, S-A-Offner, O-F-N-E-R, at Gmail, and I'll set you up for VAN. And Wendy Roche is here. Wendy, would you hold your hand up? She's willing to give individual presentations and individuals training for anybody that needs it. We need to get everybody ready for this because we're going to be really busy come September. That's all.
Thank you, Sally Ann. And we sent out some information in our last PO newsletter. We'll have another PO newsletter going out soon about some more van and vote builder trainings as well, because Wendy is also volunteering to work with people to get updated on that. So next we have oh yeah, okay, good. I just make sure everyone was still in the room. We have Lizbeth, who's the coordinator for DPOD on voter registration, and she is going to talk with us about how we can help with voter registration efforts between now and November.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Elizabeth, as mentioned. I am the new voter registration captain. I know tonight is a jam-packed agenda, and you all have heard wonderful ways in which you can still continue to get engaged and participate and volunteer when you have the opportunity. And I did want to come in tonight into your meeting and present another opportunity for you to also get engaged. We realize how important voter registration is going to be this year as any other election year. And we're hosting circulator trainings every week for you all to get trained if you want to collect voter registration forms for folks in your district or events happening around the community. It's really important to get folks registered to vote. We do have a big chunk of Coloradoans that are not registered to vote, need to update their voter registration status, or just aren't aware that, they need to, they've moved and need to update their voter registration status. So I just wanted to pop in and say that we are hosting circulator trainings, which means in order for you to collect these voter registration forms, you do have to go through a training from the Secretary of State so that you're aware of all of, the legal compliances we have to be aware of when registering folks to register to vote. So we are holding weekly circulator trainings if that is something that you all are interested in. And if this is something that you're just want to know a little bit more information about too, I'm going to hang around as well. But these voter circulation trainings are going to be happening Wednesday afternoons. I'll share the mobilized links with folks so that you all can have access to those. It's really important that we get folks registered to vote, and part of that is taking this circulator training. Super easy, less than 1 hour, and then you can go and ask your neighbors if they're registered to vote. We also have an easy way that you can just send folks or your family or friends just a QR code on your phone for them to scan, and they can just fill out their own voter registration form as a way to just keep folks updated. But I just want to share that opportunity with you all. Those trainings are going to be offered in English and Spanish. So if you do have any folks that are wanting to participate in any of those, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, and at this point, I'm going to hand it over to Madeline, who's with the DCSF, the Democratic Senate Campaign Fund. She is going to explain what that means, and then we have some candidates with us from outside of Denver County who are running in some tight districts that we need to keep blue in the Senate. So, Madeline.
Hi, I'm Madeline. I'm the Executive Director of the Democratic Senate Campaign Fund, as Kate said. It's great to be here tonight. Last time I was here, it was in 2019 for the Recall Defense team, which you were also super helpful with, so thanks very much for stepping in again. For those who don't know, DSCF is an initiative of the Democratic Party. We oversee the Democratic caucus in the Senate and protect our Democratic majority in the Senate and expand as we can. This year, post-redistricting, we have a very different map ahead of us. We've got 7 key seats that are up this year, 6 that are sort of Democratic holds, and 1 possible pickup. And they are all around the state, as you'll hear from our candidates. And again, are all just completely new seats. Redistricting did make the map a lot more competitive for us, which is why we're here for your help. So we can keep the Senate majority and continue to protect women's right to choose, protect our environment, protect workers' rights, protect our families, all of those wonderful things. So I'm going to turn it over. We've got 3 candidates here in person, one of our managers, and I'll come back at the end and fill in for the other 2 who couldn't make it. But I'll turn it over to Lisa Cutter, Tom Sullivan, and Janice Marchman. Whoever wants to go first.
Thank you so much, Madeline. And thank you all for having us here tonight. I'm really excited to be here. And I'm most particularly excited that you all are so engaged and like ready to work and ready to get out there. That really makes my heart happy. I know that I feel like some of my House districts that'll be in my new Senate district are also really gearing up, and it's really good to see people out there and motivated. So my backstory is that I have lived in Colorado my whole life. I was born and raised here. I love this state deeply, very passionate about it, always wanted to do something to help. So I grew up in Arvada, North Jeffco, and now we live in South Jeffco. So the area I'm running for, I've lived in basically that area for almost my entire life. I always wanted, like as I said, I always wanted to do something to support communities. So I was a communications consultant, and when my kids were young, I resigned and started my own firm so that I could do more volunteer work, both with them in the classroom and really get involved in public education, and also just nonprofits and things, because I wanted to have that piece of giving back and being invested in my community. So when the election so who is it that spoke about the election in 2016 and getting out and marching? I was so excited because that was such a turning point for so many people. And I thought, wow, sitting on the couch and throwing things at the TV is super not productive. It felt really good for a little while, but it didn't really move the needle. So I decided to do what I've always done, like get up and do something. You can't complain. You have to, you complain for a little while and wallow, but then you have to get up and you have to do something positive and try to make a difference. So actually, before I ran for office, I got involved in the Women's March. I was one of the organizers the first 2 years of the Women's March. So I'm really proud of that. And it really reflects my belief that your voice matters. Like in this setting, at the Capitol, in the streets, wherever you are, your voice matters, and it's important for you to raise that voice in any way you can. You create the democracy, the system that we live in. You guys have the power, and you all know that, and that's why you're here. So I ran for office. I actually flipped a seat. My current seat is House District 25. And I flipped that. I was the first Dem to ever hold that seat. And my good friend C.L. Harmer here helped and advised me quite a bit. She basically advised me not to run. So wrong, and I'm so glad it was. No, it wasn't personal. She just said it's hard, and it was hard. So I flipped that seat, and then I was able to win again. I was underwater again last campaign, but we sort of had some headwinds, and I was able to win again last cycle. And so I've been a legislator for 4 years and loved every single minute, almost every single minute. Tom's checking me on that one. Most days, other than the all-nighters. That was rough. So when the redistricting happened, I decided to run for Senate, because I was pretty much drawn out of, I would have been perfectly happy returning to the House. I just want to serve. I just want to make change and make policy that's going to make Colorado better for the people that live here. And but it was completely flipped. Like I had hardly any of my base, and I'd become very attached to those people. They become your community when you run and serve in an area. And I really was grieving about the loss of that community. And so when the opportunity came to run for Senate, I jumped in and did that. During session. So now we're just sort of gearing up to get going. My priorities have been, I don't want to take too much time because you guys have other people to hear from, but my priorities have been mental health, public education. I'm a huge supporter of public education. I've done some pretty cool things in the mental health space. I've done some stuff for small business, and I've really, I think, led in environmental issues and wildfire mitigation. And those are certainly really important. I think environmental issues are probably important to all of us. Wildfire stuff is really important to my district because it's up the mountain in Jeffco. It's largely west of C470. Currently, I'll have some east of C470 in the Senate district. But that's been really important to me. I also think that what's really important for everyone to realize, and you guys are savvy, you know this, I vote not only, don't only just run my own legislation, but I vote on my colleagues' legislation. Like when Representative Sullivan there runs some really amazing bills on gun violence prevention, it is my pleasure to be supportive of that and to vote for that. And so that's why it's important to keep every single Dem in office and try to retain that majority and grow that majority so we can support the great legislation of our colleagues and the priorities that we all share. I think that's just it in a nutshell. And I really, again, am so grateful to be able to speak to y'all tonight. So grateful for your efforts on behalf of your district, on behalf of Colorado. It's just really great to see so many engaged people, and thank you very much. And I will turn you over to Rep. Soon-to-be Senator Sullivan.
Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you for this opportunity to come and chat with you. I mean, it's very nostalgic for me because when Terry and I moved here to Colorado in 1980, our first apartment was at 1140 Colorado Boulevard. The first condo that we bought was at 2nd and Colorado Boulevard. Both of our kids were born at Rose Medical. Alex went to first grade at you'll tell me what the name of the school is. That's right here behind. But that was the first grade that he went to. We came here. We tried to get him to want to be a Cub Scout. Wasn't really his thing. But we brought him here to this church. They used to have the Cub Scout meetings and all of that kind of stuff. I remember they had several kind of Halloween gatherings and all of that kind of stuff. My dad's favorite restaurant in all of Colorado? House of Pies. He loved the House of Pies. And every time that he would come, if we would eat at home, that was fine. But we were going to House of Pies every night, and we would get to try a different slice of pie. And my dad just loved it. And the barbecue place, I can't remember. Was the old New York Jets lineman who owned the barbecue place. But this is where we were. I would have been, a part of this. We then moved out to Centennial. As y'all, I'm 27 years with the United States Postal Service. So when I first started, we still lived here. I used to take the bus down, the 2 down, and then take the 15. I worked at the Aurora. At the time, it was the Aurora Main Post Office that was at Colfax and Dayton. And then we moved out further. So I was a special delivery messenger, so I drove all over Aurora, and that's how I was able to scope out the houses and stuff there before they came out. It certainly wasn't as ferocious hunting for homes as it is today, but we moved out there in 92. You all probably, unless I will remind you, my son Alex was murdered in the Aurora Theater Massacre, celebrating his 27th birthday on July 20th in 2012. I had, prior to that, had no aspirations to run for office. I was involved with my local union, with the postal workers, had always been, active with the party and that kind of stuff, and I thought that was what I was going to be doing. But then got involved in that because shortly after the theater massacre, we had the Sandy Hook massacre, and we were able to get involved with the people from the Newtown Action Alliance. We started going to Washington, D.C. We started going around the country speaking out and being a part of all of those organizations. And then when our trial was all over, it became pretty evident to me that there was more to be done rather than on the outside, is to get on the inside. And that's when I decided to run, and I ran for the Senate seat in Senate District 27. We lost that race, but we changed the dynamic out in that district. We got more votes than a Democrat had ever gotten before. We raised more money than anybody had ever raised out there before. We put our name on the map, and it became a seat that we could win. And so then 2 years later, the House seat came up. I ran for that, and we were able to win that. We passed the extreme risk protection order that first year. And that was a key part of it. They were talking about it the year before, and they had tried to run it, but because we had split houses, we didn't have control of the Senate. That bill didn't pass. And I told everybody as I was knocking on the doors, the over 9,000 doors that I personally knocked, the part of the 45,000 doors that our campaign knocked out there, we told each and every person that should I get elected, we would run and get passed an extreme risk protection order. So lo and behold, when the session is all over, I got recalled because I ran an extreme risk protection order because I did exactly what I told the people in the community that I would do. How outrageous is that? So we then went back on the doors and we said to the people, okay, what is it that you want me to do then? And they said, Tom, continue to do what you told us you were going to do, continue to do that. And so then we became the first legislator to defeat a recall, and we did it in record-setting time. Recalls, you normally have 60 days in which to acquire all of the signatures that you need. After 29 days, they raised the white flag and they said, that's enough, we're not going to do it. And they took their adventure on to a couple of others who then defeated it. Pete Lee, Brittany Pedersen, Leroy Garcia. There was a couple of others that they went after, so that is not going to be a part of their game plan anymore. I'm being up here with Representative future Senator Cutter. It would be no surprise that her district got redistricted as heavily as it did, and mine got redistricted as heavily as it did, because in the last election cycle, out of the 100 legislators that are down there, there are 2 legislators that the Chamber of Commerce actively campaigned against. It was the 2 of us, okay? So it would come as no surprise that our districts are getting cut up, and they made a big point about it. So my district really got changed around. I got moved out of my House district into a different House district. The Senate seat, Senate District 27, is a vacant seat right now. So we were able to, we're going to run in that race. Ends up that it's about 40% of a district that I have never, knocked doors on. I knocked, as I said, 9,000 on my first race. We did about 6,000 on the Senate race. I did about 10,000 on the second race. And I can't believe that there's people in this state that I haven't been on your porch yet. But apparently there's about 40% out there in 27. So we have started going out there on that. And quite frankly, I'm starting to work into getting it up, because I'm not quite as out of breath as I was a couple of weeks ago. I was doing better today. It was a little flatter. It's just, so maybe, that, certainly helps me. But, and one of the, I was thinking about this, when I still have my postal ears. So when we deliver a package to someone's house and we knock on the doors, I can hear if you're walking towards the door or if there's people talking, and so I can hear that. So I still have my postal ears, but when I get so out of breath, I couldn't figure out if those are your footsteps or that's my heart trying to beat out of my chest, because I've been so exhausted about getting up these doors. But this is a big race for us to maintain control of the state Senate. Quite frankly, as you all know, we have to have control of both the House and the Senate to get any kind of things done. Last year, they really, went into a slowdown tactic, and we had a difficult time, even though we controlled both. That will only be accentuated if we lose the Senate, and that's why races like Senator Cutter's, mine, a couple of the others, I know Madeline will tell you all who the rest of are, those are why they are so important for us to win. And that's why we need people like you to help out in those areas, because your representatives here in this district can only do as much as they can do when they have support from the others who are there. If we don't have control of the Senate, they're going to be stonewalled and not be able to do it. So that's why, if you have the time, to volunteer, you have some extra money, we've got some envelopes out there, you can help us out. I mean, and here, as I've said, I'm already out there, so I kind of soften, the areas up for you. So when you knock on doors and say, I'm here for Tom Sullivan, 9 times out of 10, those people will say, yeah, Tom is already here. We talked to Tom. When's Tom coming back? They will ask you. So it's a little bit easier out there, and I pride myself on doing that to make it easier for you. So any help you can give us, I certainly appreciate it. We'll be here if you have any specific questions that you want for us, and I don't know who I'm handing it to next. Come on over. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Nice meeting you.
Hey. Second, I'm going to pull up my notes and get my glasses adjusted. Thank you for having us. I'm from Loveland, so I got to come to the big city tonight. It was pretty fun. Not a ton of traffic, which was good. I am the only one of these competitive races that is not an incumbent legislator. So I just want to say thank you, Rep. Cutter. Thank you, Rep. Sullivan, for all of your advocacy. Thank you guys for having us, and thank you for having me. I'm going to spend most of my time just kind of talking a little bit about myself so you can understand who I am. I want to explain my race a little bit, and then we have envelopes and information also. I'm an Air Force brat. I was born and raised on Air Force bases, so it's a different way of life. It is, we would come home when we heard taps, and that's after every car on base stops, and you turn your belly button toward wherever the flag is, and you just stay there. And that's what patriotism and also curfew looked like for me, being raised. I went to 14 different public schools. They've always been very critical to me because I was on Air Force bases. I went to base schools. I went to public schools off base. It's been a very important part of my life. It's the one thing that was always there, including my mom, dad, and family. I did go to Georgia Tech, got a systems engineering degree there. That's where I met my hubby, Mike. We've been together for 23 years. We've lived in Loveland for 17 of them. We've got a 19 and a 16-year-old. Well, she's almost 16. I'm enjoying driving her around all the time. She almost has got her license in about a month. So we're doing a lot of driving. My hubby also has an engineering degree. So when it was time to have babies, childcare was very expensive, and so I stayed home. I stayed home for about 13 years, and that's when I got involved in volunteering for school district things. I got asked, hey, would you consider a run for the board? Eventually I got appointed to the board, and when I was finally elected, I was elected as the vice president of the school board. And so I did that in Loveland. That was 10 years ago. Since then, I have stayed involved in local races, school board, mills, bonds. It's hard to pass mills and bonds in Larimer County, and it's a constant challenge. So in the 12 years I think we've had 4 different mills and bonds. We finally had one pass in 2018, which was huge, and I, worked on that. So that's kind of what I wanted to share just about me. I'm a middle school math teacher now. I went back, instead of going back into engineering, I wanted to find something that I could be good in my community and also for my family. And so I teach middle school math. I love it, 6th and 7th graders, and they're great. They're smelly sometimes, but we use deodorant liberally. And every kiddo who stinks, I have a private conversation, and we just kind of talk about, you can leave all your good stuff right over here, use it anytime you want. So I love my job. I'm kind of school mom for staff and for students. So the reason I'm able to run for the state senate, I think there's an issue that a lot of people can't get into the legislature because their jobs just don't allow it. I'm a member of a union that gives me legislative leave, so I'm going to be able to teach my students from August through December and then be on legislative leave from January through May. This allows me to continue paying the bills that need paid. I'm a working mom. I we've got bills to pay. I'm not a lifelong politician. I'm a teacher. And so I'll get to go back, and it's the union that allows me to do that. So I am running on all things working and retired families, from jobs, workers' rights, safe working places, fair wages, healthcare. We've got 28 municipalities. I'll keep talking. Healthcare, repro healthcare is huge. We're knocking doors, and that's one of the things that's interesting. Loveland's pretty conservative, and we are knocking base, a touch of persuasion, and these people are really, really nervous about what's going on with some legal mandates like reproductive rights and everything else that could go back. So people are excited. We're trying to keep that energy up, for sure. Affordability is huge in my Senate district, for sure. As a teacher in a mom's schools, and school safety is important, and environment. Let me tell you a little bit about my Senate district. It goes from Wyoming all the way down to Superior. So it's this huge, like if you look at a map, it's like the middle of Colorado, top right. It's pink. We'll call it pink. And so we've got 28 municipalities, we've got 2 counties, we've got 5 school districts. Loveland is the seat. Pretty conservative, but people are kind of done with not having a voice. Our Senate district has been under extremely reliable, conservative, Republican control. I don't know, I think I did something. Got it. For over a decade. People are tired of it. We kind of just assumed we'll never get our voices. Working and retired families don't get their voices to go to the Senate if they're from Loveland. And we reject that. We're getting out there. We're talking to people. Loveland, I think we're going to be able to win it. We now have Boulder County, and that's really what shifted things. We lost Berthoud, which is great, and we picked up Boulder County. So all of the mountain communities, Netherland, Lyons, Jamestown, Ward, 10,000 voters in Longmont, 10,000 voters in Boulder. We've got voters in Fort Collins. It's a very large and diverse district, and so it's going to take a ton of work to get out there. I've got a fantastic staff. We're knocking doors. We're saving for lit. We're making lots of phone calls. We've got a lot of areas that are not very canvassable, and so we're doing a lot of phone calls, but we're ready to work. It's summertime, so this is the most unique summer I've ever had as a teacher and a mom. We're not doing pools and lakes and relaxing. We're hitting doors, and my son's going to help with knocking drives and all that kind of stuff, and this is just what we're doing. It's that important that we flip this seat. The person who's in place now, had there not been a Senate majority kill committee that was Democrat, would have passed some pretty tremendously horrible bills if given an opportunity. So we have to force him out, and we've got an opportunity to do it in my race. So mine is SD15, again, out of Loveland, Larimer, Boulder County. We've got some stuff back there. I'm very bad at that, I'm sorry. But we do have some things back there. So thank you guys for humoring me. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your support. Shane?
Can everybody hear me okay, by the way? Can we get a quick round of applause for Maddie Zan and the DSCF? All right, my name is Shane Beck. I'm not Dylan Roberts. I'm his aide and his campaign manager. And I'm here to talk about his campaign and his platform as a legislator. In working as his aide and as his campaign manager, I found 3 C's that really define his candidacy and his career. The first C being compassion. He was born in Routt County, went off to college, and came back each semester to work in politics and government on campaigns in 2008 through 2012. He was the first field director in Western Colorado to flip Colorado to Barack Obama in 2008. After college, he graduated, went to law school, came back to Eagle County and served as a deputy district attorney there at a very young age, right out of college. The other C is care, in that his entire legislative platform is based on giving people the resources and the support they need to care for themselves, to care for their friends, to care for their family, to care for their children, to care for the environment, and to care for the collective good. The last C I have is change. He puts forth bold solutions to fix or to make massive strides towards the most pressing challenges in Colorado. Dylan Roberts is a champion of compassion, of care, and change. It takes compassion, care, and change to lead the Affordable Housing Transformation Task Force and make the largest investment in affordable housing in Colorado history just this year. It takes all that and more to make large investments in climate protection, efforts to protect our air quality and water, and it takes all that and more to pass bills making childcare more accessible for families across the state, among other crucial initiatives that he's been the lead on. And I'd be remiss without mentioning that he was the first legislator in the country to write and pass the bill which capped the cost of insulin and was also alluded to in Joe Biden's State of the Union address in 2022. All right, so there's one more C, I lied to you, and that is competition. Senate District 8 is the seat that Dylan is running for. That ranges from Clear Creek County, so think Evergreen, Colorado, Central Colorado, all the way out to Utah in Moffat County, Rio Blanco County, and Garfield County. Knocking doors, finding volunteers, hosting meet and greets, and getting out in front of voters is going to take a ton of time, gasoline, unfortunately, to cross the state, and support to mobilize voters. We need any support you are willing to provide, whether that be your time, your treasure, a financial contribution, a positive attitude, a quick call my way to say, hey, you guys are doing okay, here's my 2 cents, here's my ideas. Anything helps, and we greatly appreciate it. So I'll quit rambling here and say thank you for your time, and happy to take any questions.
Also, Dylan his wife just had a baby, which is why he's not here tonight. And the other two candidates, I'll be quick because I know we've taken up a lot of your time, which I really appreciate you all doing, are Kyle Mullica, who's the state legislature right now. His district is Thornton and Federal Heights. He's an ER nurse, which I believe is where he is tonight, so he's on the front lines of COVID, and also was a huge part of passing a lot of really important healthcare legislation this past year to help with some of the nursing staffing crisis, among other things. And Nick Heinrichsen, who is a state senator down in Pueblo. He was appointed to Lyra Garcia's vacancy after Garcia took a job at the Pentagon and was appointed by Joe Biden. And Nick is a veteran. As you know, Pueblo is the home of heroes, so we're hoping to get him reelected down there. He's a huge advocate for infrastructure in Pueblo and making sure that Pueblo doesn't fall behind in Colorado's economy and the U.S. economy. But again, thank you so much. I'm going to steal a line from Jonah Goose and say that thankfully, the money that we need to keep the Senate and expand our majority exists. It's just in your pockets. So we appreciate your support, and thank you again so much. And I'll turn over to Kate, I believe.
Thank you so much to Madeline and to all the candidates. As Rachel said earlier, our goal for House District 6 is to raise about $10,000 so that we can get out the vote in not only our own district, but we can contribute to campaigns in these other really important districts throughout the state. So please, again, they have their information here to donate directly to them, but also donate to House District 6, and we will be making decisions in future months on donating to other campaigns and potentially rounding up some of us to go knock doors and volunteer for different campaigns outside of our own district as we get closer to the election. So we're going to wrap up here shortly. But again, one last request for donations to House District 6. You can scan the QR code that's on the table, or there's also envelopes on the table. If you choose the envelope, please make sure and completely fill out the information on the envelope, and make sure you completely sign it, because we get chastised when we take the money down and it doesn't have all of that information on it. So please, please, please make sure you complete that information. Again, you can also scan the QR code and do the donation online. if you prefer that. We will send out a follow-up email with, there's a lot of links and information from tonight, so we will make sure and get that out to everybody so that you can have these events coming up, the tickets for the ice cream social in July, the tattered cover event here in a week and a half or so. And I think that's it. Am I forgetting anything? All right. So we next have to the election for the captain in 6B. So that will be, Mark will take over for that. If you're in 6B, if you want to just kind of move up, feel free. If you're not in 6B, you're welcome to leave, but just kind of be quiet on your way out. You're welcome to stay. Hopefully this won't take too long, and then we'll clean up and get going. And thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. And Mark, I'll turn it over to you.
Hey, this is Skip Matz again, just very quickly speaking to you as the rules chair for the Colorado Democratic Party. I always get a number of different people asking me a lot of questions. So I want to speak to you tonight about the neutrality policy. If you're a precinct organizer, you as an individual can support any candidate you want, okay? But if you're a state or a county party officer or a district officer, you have to stay neutral in the primary, okay? Whether it's this primary or the one next door, you need to stay neutral, okay? But if you're a precinct organizer, like most of us are, you can go out and you can support whoever you want in the primary. Thank you.
Okay, so the regular HD6 meeting is now adjourned. If you're in 6B, could you please move up to the front so we have everybody together? Okay, 6B, please come up toward the front. Jackie, come up to the front. CL. Am I missing anybody? Skip? I don't know where Skip went. Okay, I'm gonna get this going. So, can everybody else please be quiet? Abe, can you please come up front here? All right, so I think everybody can hear me good enough. All right, so as I said at the beginning, we have a vacancy in the captain position because of a resignation. Our rules state that we have to send out notices which I did about 3 weeks ago and then sent the call out about 12 days ago. That's your official notice. I received one nomination and one seconding nomination. Nomination from Janine Ransom, seconding from Barry Hochstadt, for Sean Camacho. So my question to the Central Committee for 6B, are there any other nominations from the floor? You can either be nominated or you can self-nominate. So are there any other nominations? Oh, I thought she was waving her hand that she wanted to be nominated. You can't because you're not on the Central Committee. I'm sorry, what, CL?
Motion to close nominations.
Thank you, Mike, or CL. Okay, so Mike Lopez moved to close the nominations. CL seconded it. All those in favor of closing nominations, just say aye or raise your hand. Okay, thank you. So since there are no other candidates, I would ask for a motion to elect, appoint, whatever word you want to use, Sean Camacho by acclamation. Barry Hochstadt moved. I hear seconds coming out. You can't do that. Okay, I'll just. Trish will say Trish did the seconding. Most quiet I've ever heard Trish. Okay, so congratulations, Sean. We are really happy. We're really happy to be getting a full team in HD6. I can tell you I'm very close with the officers, and Kate and Andrew and Karen, and I don't know where Rachel, oh, there's Rachel.
Collecting money that I have not received yet.
Well, you have to go stand by the exit and don't let them out.
And then no one could see me, and then they got scared, and so then I
Oh, okay. Anyway, we're very happy. Sean was our co-captain a year ago, and we're delighted to have him back. I know he and Karen work really well together, and he will work really well with Kate and Andrew and Rachel. So, Sean, did you want to say a few words? And these are his adorable, adorable kids who are my neighbors, and I love these kids.
Can everyone hear me? All right. Thank you very much. It's quite the honor. I heard from a few folks that you don't know who I am. Well, hi. I'm Sean. I live in Lowry. I've been a member of this community for a long time. This community means a lot to me, and it's really quite the honor. I served previously as co-captain, and to now serve as captain is quite the full circle. I'm running behind bedtime, so I'll keep my remarks short. But I'll keep my remarks short. This is really important, and I would just like to carry on the theme of tonight, as this is such a strong democratic community that we have the luxury, really the luxury, to invite candidates from across this state who are in tough and contested elections. That's something special, because we can go out into our communities and we are blessed to live in a community that is like-minded. And it's really important to me because my kids typically don't get to see this part of my life. They're typically at home with mom, getting ready for bed. So it's kind of important to me that they get to see what civic participation looks like. It looks like everything in this room. So thank you very much for electing me as your captain. I look forward to getting to work and making sure we can elect Democrats across the board. I will say this. I was asked to talk about neutrality. And Skip, wherever Skip is, that's very important. And I'll just address it. I know there are some folks that are concerned because I'd previously run for the seat a few times, whether or not I could be neutral. Well, I will tell you, let history be the judge. I was the co-captain in this district. I treated everyone fairly. I treated everyone with respect, and I will continue to do that as your captain. If past performance is an indication of future performance, I think you have all the evidence you need. All right? So with that said, everyone have a great night, drive home safely, and I look forward to be, a stronger voice within this community. So thank you very much. Have a great night.